Before I edit this photo in Photopea, I'm just going to very quickly upscale it using Topaz Gigapixel. If you want to just skip straight to the Photopea edit, then you can use that with the chapters in the bottom of the video. So for the upscale, I'm just going to take this image, which I generated in Flux, and the resolution's 1344 by 768. And I'm going to go up to the top right here, and I'm just going to click 2 times upscale, just a little moderate upscale on this one. I don't want to make it huge. And as you can see, that's a pixel dimensions now of just over 2,500 pixels wide. And the basic models, my experience tells me that this kind of image is going to be a cross between standard or high fidelity in terms of the best results. So to do that quickly on here to compare, we can click this A/B compare button, and we can click standard, high fidelity. No, we're doing here, these are just the upscale models, and whichever one gives you the best results will depend on your image, and also there's a bit of subjectivity to it as well. So I've got standard on the left, high fidelity on the right. Now I'm looking at these at both 100% magnification, and you can go in closer if you like, but it's almost pointless because then you're seeing the pixels larger than their true image size. So my eyes, it's quite subtle, and this will be made even less apparent with the video compression on YouTube, but the details are looking slightly more crisp and defined on the high fidelity V2 model, which is on the right hand side. Not much in it, but for my tastes, that's giving me some nice results. So I'm just going to click apply that model to just update the preview, and then I'm skipping the generative model section because I'm not going to use that. And the model settings, I'm not going to sharpen it in this because it's sharp, it's plenty sharp enough. Denoise, I'm actually going to add some grain in Photopea, so I don't want to take any off that may already be in there. And there's no notable compression artifacts that I can see in this, so I'm not going to adjust fixed compression either. So now I'm just going to click export image, and then I'm going to take that image straight back into Photopea. Okay, so I'm in Photopea now. I'm just going to drag this image from my desktop and then load it up. Now in Photopea, if you press Ctrl or Command R, you'll bring up your rulers, your guides here, and then in the top left corner you can see the percentage of magnification you're on. So in the bottom left I can see here I'm at 100%, and then it lists the resolution or the dimensions of the image. So it's showing my newly upscaled version here. And you can just press Ctrl or Command R to get rid of that from your screen if you wish. So on this particular image, I don't want to do a huge amount, but one thing I do want to do for sure is add some nice grain and some noise back into the image, just a subtle amount, because upscaling it via various forms, not just Topaz, free upscalers as well that do a good job, but a lot of them do take away some of that very fine grain detail that is useful to hold gradients together and prevent banding and things like that. So I'm just going to create a new layer by clicking on the new layer icon, and I'm going to press Shift and F5, which brings up my fill dialog here. I'm going to change the fill mode to grey, so we get like a 50% grey layer here. I'm going to change the blend mode to soft light, which will effectively make that disappear. And the reason why I'm doing this now is when I go and add my noise layer onto this, it's going to be on a separate layer, so I can now affect it, turn the opacity down, resize it, etc. So I'm going to click monochromatic here because I don't want any color in the grain as such. And now I'm just going to zoom in slightly just to see a little bit more what I'm doing. So distribution, you can choose between 2 types. I normally use uniform because it's a little bit more subtle. And I'm going to lower the amount. I don't want to see this everywhere as a really strong grainy effect because it'll take away from some of the sharpness of the image. But I just want to take it to a point where it is visible. There we go. Something like 6% works okay for me in this regard. So now, I don't know if you can see, if I turn that layer on and off, now because we've got it on a 50% grey layer, we can, we can enhance the areas by using different sizes also. And what I mean by that is now we've got it on a grey layer. If I zoom out, well, actually, let me zoom back in a bit. If I now get the transform controls, so on my Mac it's Command and T, but I think on a PC it's is it Alt Command and T, or you can just go to the transform tools another way and just resize the noise actually upwards. So up here when it's got width and height in the top bar, make sure they're linked by making this button in, and we can change that to maybe 130%, and it will automatically change the height as well. So what we're doing now, because that grain and that noise is on a 50% grey layer, we can now scale that up to make the noise bigger, because a lot of the time what you find is the generic noise or size in the filter is too small for a lot of images to even come close to being anything like film grain or anything like that. So that's a good way in Photopea to be able to adjust the actual size of the grain. And then with this type of image, a really good quick win is going to be to add a little bit of light bloom to it, which I'm going to do with the Lunar Graphics Super Bloom plugin. Now, I'll put a link in the description to a previous tutorial I've done of this, but just super quickly, if you just go to Window, Plugins, you'll see somewhere, it's at the top on mine because I've got it already installed, Super Bloom by Lunar Graphics. So just click that and add it to your Photopea, and it will be this icon down here. And now I'm just going to increase the size preview box so we can see what we're looking at. See, everything's very strong at the moment. I'm going to take the threshold up. Taking it down actually makes more areas susceptible to the blooming effect. So I'll take the threshold up until there's just a little bit going on there. We can play around with the depth and other areas. You can see how it's adjusting the extent of which the glow and the colour is radiating from the areas. And you've got a radius amount as well. So it's really a balance between the top three to establish your amount of and the overall look of your blooming effect, light blooming effects. And then you can change it to a specific color if you like, instead of it picking up colors that are in the image. And you know, you've got brightness of the color. So these adjustments below, it says brightness, saturation, hue, they just affect the color if you choose colorize. So they're not doing anything to the overall image. That's just the top three controls. So if you're not interested in changing the color of the light bloom, then you just need to stick to the top three controls. That's something that I think some people, it's a little bit confusing sometimes. So I'm just going to make this a little bit more subtle. It's quite a subtle effect, but then we're going to click add to document. And the beauty about this is it will put that, let me just click off that now, click the icon. It'll put that in its own separate layer. You can see on screen blending mode. So if you hold Alt and click on the layer mask eyeball icon, we can now see exactly what that layer is applying to our image. So all those little areas of highlight, it's now giving a bit of a bloom with that sort of saturated warm color, just to make it look like the light is like kissing the surface of those highlights and just giving it a really nice look.